You're born in England somewhere in the late 13th century, deep in the reigns of kings who love war more than peace. Your home is a timber shack with a thatch roof that leaks in winter and stinks in the summer. The floor is mud, the blankets are thin, and the only warmth comes from the smoke-choked fire in the corner. Rats own the place as much as your family does. Your early years are spent in perpetual hunger. Not starving, but never full either. Life isn't easy, but nothing stops a peasant boy from dreaming of becoming a knight. At least you've never seen a starving knight before, or any knight for that matter. But the traveling bard's tales of knights always mention glory, and that's what you want. But it's a shame you'll never get to choose what you'll be. Parliament already decided that before you were born. By law, every able-bodied male must train with the longbow. Not for sport, not for fun, for war. The goal is for England to have every man to be available for recruitment. The order comes straight from the crown, enforced by the sheriff. Skip practice, and you'll pay a fine you can't afford, or spend a night in the stocks. But right now, you're still a toddler, so you're exempted. A few years pass, and now you're 7 years old. The law affects you now. So after church every Sunday, you line up at the butts. 7 years old, bow in hand, strings biting your fingers raw. No games, no excuses. You pull until your shoulders burn, until the tears stop coming, until calluses form like armor over your skin. The adults call it honor. You call it pain. But pain is the point, and it's shaping you for a life you never asked for. One where killing will be just another chore. You grow into your bow like other boys grow into their boots. By 12, the child's bow is gone. You showed promise among your peers. So, you get punished. I mean, rewarded with extra training. Now it's the real thing. Longbows made from yew wood as tall as you, with draw weight heavy enough to snap your spine if you're careless. Before drawing, they made you build strength through constant practice like lifting stones. Your spine protests, but the king's order comes first. The first time you pull it to full draw, you feel something tear in your shoulder. No one cares. Again, they say. Training isn't about hitting targets. It's about becoming a machine. You fire until your fingers split and bleed. Then you fire some more. The leather guard on your wrist stinks of sweat and rot. Your left arm thickens, bones bending under years of strain. Your spine twists. You don't notice at first, but the village healer does. He says it's the mark of a true bowman. There's no escape from the grind. Not in winter when the bowstring freezes. Not in summer when the sweat blinds you. Not even on holy days. The law doesn't care about the harvest, the weather, or your aching body. It only cares that when the king calls, you'll be ready to rain death on whoever he points at. 2 years pass, and congratulations, you've made it to 14. Technically, you're now an adult. After all, less than 50% of your peers makes it to this age. Now you can let loose 12 arrows a minute with deadly aim at 200 yards. By then, your body is already broken in ways you won't understand until you're older. But you probably won't make it that long anyway. You're 17 when they finally pull you from the village for your first real war. You've trained your whole life for this moment. Or so they tell you. The reality is 20 miles a day in thin leather boots, 60 pounds of misery strapped to your back, and no promises of a warm place to sleep when you stop. You eat hard bread that cracks your teeth. Meat so tough you wonder if it's horsehide. The rain turns your bowstring useless, so you sleep with it inside your shirt, your own sweat soaking it through. You march with men twice your age, some missing fingers, others limping from old wounds. You try not to notice how many start the march and how many are missing by the next sunrise. But what you know is there's only 2 reasons they aren't around: desertion or death. You can't seem to decide which one's better. When you reach the battlefield, the ground is already slick with mud and blood. You get into formation, and wait for your orders. The captain's horns signal for you to fire your first arrow into the chaos. Somewhere out there, a stranger falls because of you. You don't see his face, but you hear the scream. You keep firing. You see arrows flying everywhere. You even see some of your comrades falling from friendly fire. Your hands wobble. One of your arrows lodge into the back of a friendly footman. You pretend not to notice. When it's all over, you're shaking from muscle spasms, bleeding from your bowstring cuts. This makes you think of her, the girl promised to you since childhood, and wonder what she'd say if she saw you now. You promise yourself to marry her immediately after your first campaign. By nightfall, you've looted boots from a corpse. Yay, your first pay! The captain of your company calls it wages. You call it whatever you can strip from the field before someone else does. A knight's sword? Worth more than a year's pay. You loot a pouch with 3 coins and a wedding ring. The army pays late, if it pays at all. The captain tells you plunder isn't greed, it's survival. And for the first time, you understand. War isn't glory. It's just surviving one more day. You limp home months later, alive, but changed. Your fiancé runs to meet you, smiles through tears, and kisses you like she's been holding her breath for months. But when she pulls back, her eyes search your face, as if she's not sure it's really you. And the painful part is, you're not sure either. The king calls again. He always will. You march again and again, and spend more time on the road than in your own bed. Campaigns last months, sometimes years. When battle comes, it's never clean. Stakes in the ground to stop cavalry, lines of men shoulder to shoulder, the captain's voice carrying over the clash. You fire until your fingers split, until your shoulders feel like they're tearing away from your body. 1,000 arrows in the air at once, the sky turning black. Nights fall, horses scream. You don't stop. You can't. One battle, the captain's tactics don't go as planned. The enemy closes in on you. With your arrows gone, you reach for a weapon, only to realize the only other thing on you is a dagger. Your opponent is a knight squire. Obvious to you since he is wearing leather armor and not chainmail armor. He lunges for you with his sword. You dodge back, but still get a slash across your face. Every one of his swings reeks of desperation. You notice he looks young, reminds you of yourself in your first campaign. So you know he lacks experience, and almost immediately it shows. He stumbles on a corpse. Like a coiled snake, you stab at his exposed neck. He staggers backward and looks at you in disbelief, then dies with his eyes open. You remind yourself to always bring an axe with you, as you keep bleeding from your face. Injuries pile up. A cut that won't heal. A shoulder that won't lift right. Fingers that go numb in the cold. Purple patches on your finger due to gangrene. Obviously due to blood supply from pulling your bowstring. You apply first aid by pouring wine, honey, or even dung on wounds. After all, no one wants to go to the surgeon. The surgeon's tools are fire, iron, and prayers. In that order. Amputation if you're lucky. Death if you're not. Somewhere far from here, your fiancé, now turned wife, waits. Or maybe she's stopped waiting. Letters don't always make it. She's heard rumors that you're dead before. You've heard rumors she's remarried. Every battle changes you. Every scar changes you. Every limp, every sleepless night, every winter that makes your joints scream. They all push you further from the man you were. The bow still fits your hand, but you're not sure your own skin does anymore. So when you do see each other again, the air between you is thick with all the things you both didn't say. And you both let it be. 10 years passed since your first campaign. You're 27 now. Your life is now a routine. War, battles, injuries, peace, and war again. It feels like an everlasting rat race, or maybe an everlasting rat battle royale, with the nobles and royals as the fat cats that gain from it. The years grind you down. Your left arm bulges grotesquely from years of drawing the bow. Your spine curves like a bent staff. The healer says it's the archer's body, as if naming it makes the pain noble. Your fingers are rigid with deep grooves, hard as horns. Perfect for the bowstring, useless for fine work. Work is scarce between campaigns. You take odd jobs, mending fences, hauling sacks, but your joints protest with every lift. Some days, you can't even string your bow without help. Your wife ages faster than you remember her mother aging. Worry lines deepen each time a recruiter rides through. Your children, 2 boys, 1 girl, barely know you. You missed all of their births. You just came home to a new baby. Sometimes you left when she was pregnant. Other times the campaign went for so long, you just met a new baby when you came back. You don't know what to feel. Happiness at being a father? Or fear that you might never see them again next campaign? Sometimes you wonder if they are all yours. But you don't take the thought seriously. After all, you weren't a saint during your campaigns. One day, the boys pull at your arm, begging to learn to shoot. You want to say no. You want to break the law for them. But the king's decree still stands. And so by 7, they're bending light bows at the butts, just like you did. Your wife tries to pretend life is normal. She talks about planting barley, mending the roof, and the neighbor's new baby. You nod, but you're only half there. At night, you wake to phantom horns, the imagined whistle of arrows over your bed. She reaches for you, and you flinch before you know why. You wonder if it's because of the rumors, or your guilt, or the nightmares of the dead that still haunts you. One thing you've learned from war is to keep your eyes down when you pass the dead. Looking too long at a face, especially one that looks like someone you know, is a mistake. Because you have noticed they tend to follow you, in dreams, in the edge of shadows, or the sudden stink of blood when you're alone. You flinch when the door slams. Sounds like PTSD, right? Well, there's no name for it in your time. No treatment. Just ale, prayer, and the hope no one sees your hand shake. The priests tell you it's divine punishment. Neighbors whisper about curses. You start to believe it yourself, especially on the bad nights. In war, you're useful. In peace, you're dangerous. People watch you the way they watch stray dogs, warily from a distance. You speak too bluntly. You drink too much. You don't fit anymore. Home isn't easier. Your wife looks at you like she's counting the changes. Your children barely recognize you. You realize that the years have made you a stranger. To your village, to your family, to yourself. You're 40 now. That makes you an old man in archer years. Your hands don't grip like they used to. The bow you once bent with ease now feels like a tree trying to tear your arms from their sockets. The old injuries throb in the cold, a constant reminder of every march, every volley, every close fight you barely survived. No one calls for you now. It's your son they want now. The wars move on without you. You work odd jobs, mending fences, sharpening tools, but your mind never leaves the battlefield. Some men dream of home, a fire, a warm bed, a wife's embrace. You dream of mud, screams, and the weight of the bow in your hand. You dream of that perfect volley, hundreds of strings singing together, arrows blotting out the sun. You wish you could die there, on your feet, bow drawn, one last arrow in flight before you fall. In your dreams, it happens. The enemy closes in, and you don't care. You fire arrow after arrow until they're gone. Then it's just you, the bow, and the silence. You fall forward into the grass and the world goes black. But dreams aren't real. In reality, you die in a damp bed, not in battle, not with a bow in your hands. Your body just stops. They bury you in a shallow grave behind the church. No banners, no cheers, no one to remember the wars you fought. Years pass. The bow you once worshipped is replaced by the crossbow, then the musket. Gunpowder erases the art you gave life to. Archery survives only as a sport for nobles and hobbyists, a curiosity. And you? Your bones survive as an archaeologist's prize, with one arm thicker than the other, grooves worn into finger joints, a spine twisted like rope. They wonder who you were, but they know what you were.